Before I lived in this apartment, I was in a bigger home. So when I moved, I had to figure out different ways to fit all my items from my previous home into the smaller place so that there wasn't going to be clutter brought into my new home. My apartment space is quite small, so I had to think out the box and utilize other areas of my home to create more space. I had to think about the fact that I didn't have too much space in my kitchen, so I didn't have space for glassware, so I had to create a bar area in my lounge, which I've put all my glassware and everything from my kitchen, so I've freed up more shelves in my kitchen. I do suggest utilizing your vertical space, so using shelves, floating shelves, bar counters, things like that to add a bit of dimension, and also it makes the place look beautiful. So I have utilized that with my glassware, as well as on top adding a little bit of interior. So I've done a lot of greenery, some candles, I've done 2 lamps on either side just for coloring. I've kept wine glasses together, whiskey glasses together, drinking water glasses, and I've also added a few funky colors. I've got a few red, just random red glasses I've put there for color because I've got pops of color all over my home. So it all flows. My kitchen flows into my lounge and into my bar area. Just because you don't have much space, it doesn't have to be unneat, it doesn't have to be untidy, you don't have to throw stuff into a room. It can always be displayed in a beautiful way to make your home look even more elevated than it was originally. So one of my best organizing tips is if you can't see it, you don't wear it or you don't use it. So if there's an item of clothing that you can't see because your cupboard is too cluttered, then you don't wear it. So you go and end up buying more clothes and make your cupboard more cluttered. Also, when it comes to hanging items, I do have different ways I hang pants so that they're shorter and you have space underneath for your shoes or your heels, and also with dresses as well. So in order to minimize clutter and things like that, go by the rule, if you can't see it, you don't use it. The same applies when it comes to kitchen organization. So I like to keep everything in organizers and labeled and categorized so that you can see what you have and you don't end up buying more products because you can't see that you've already got things there. Under the kitchen sink can be one of the most neglected areas of a home. So one of my tips is to make sure that you have different kinds of organizers, different shapes and sizes, whatever you prefer, to make sure that all your products are inside and contained and categorized as opposed to lying everywhere. So some of my must-have items when it comes to storage is organizers. So I'm a big organizer fanatic. They don't have to be expensive. You don't have to go and get the most expensive ones on the market. Anything looks beautiful as long as things are categorized and in their space. I've utilized organizers around my home, specifically in my dressing room. So I've got organizers for all my makeup and my jewelry so that everything has a home. A lot of people think that when you have a small apartment space, you have to keep everything hidden away and stuffed in cupboards because you can't display it. However, I've discovered that you don't need to do that. Just dotted around my house, I have blankets and baskets that are exposed in nice woven baskets, that go with the interior, as well as I've got a ladder in my bedroom full of my scarves because there was no space inside my cupboard for my scarves. So there's different ways you can find spaces for your items in your home. You can display them, you can keep them hidden if you want to, but to display things that can't fit behind closed doors is also a nice way to up your interior and just make it quirky. I think labeling is one of my favorite things. So if you label things, everything has a designated spot in your kitchen or in your house. So, it's visible to someone who might be packing my cupboard, or if I'm doing it, it just also looks neat and it's aesthetically pleasing to have that there. Another tip that includes the home as well is adding mirrors. So I've got a huge mirror to my right here and a huge mirror down my passage, and I just feel like in a small home, it expands the space, it creates an illusion that the space is bigger than it is, and it also looks beautiful because you can see all the decor and stuff in the reflection. I really believe that if you have a beautiful home, to have a beautiful behind the scenes, behind your cupboards or behind your closets is also essential. So if you have a gorgeous home, to have things that are behind closed doors looking as beautiful as the exterior, it just makes everything more beautiful. My motto is, an organized space is an organized mind, is an organized life. So if everything around you is organized, your day-to-day immediately becomes easier to deal with.
Explore Gelmar's range of storage and organization solutions in store or browse online.